Hello, let me introduce myself. My name is Gabe Torres. I am a program coordinator for Vitalink. I know Bob, Adrian, Stanley, I'm meeting you guys today, but yeah, you've probably met with Ari or Jalen before, or were in contact with them. I'm also a program coordinator for Vitalink. I do want to thank our students. I want to thank our educators, teachers, everyone for joining us today for our Mount San Jacinto Automotive Technology and Aviation Science College panel today. I don't know much about these programs or fields, but so I'm personally, I'm excited to hear more about them, and hopefully you guys are as well. I do want to ask everybody if they can mute themselves or turn off their cameras if you're not a college panelist. We just want to put the spotlight on them so we can hear more about what they have to say. I do want to thank them for giving their time and sharing a little bit about their professional and educational backgrounds, as well as more meaningful advice about the auto tech and aviation science programs. So if we do have time today, we're going to go over some questions, but if we do have time today for questions that you guys may have, hopefully we can go, put that in throughout the conversation. But so I'm just going to get started with the first conversation or the first question. And that I will give to you, Bob, if you don't mind. If you could tell us your name, your title, and a brief background about the course that you teach. Oh, sorry, you're on mute.
I'm sorry, I'm still not too comfortable in the world of that kind of technology. So my name is Bob Penciero, and I'm the department chair at the Mount San Jacinto College Automotive Department. My background is extensive. I've been in the industry in one capacity or another for about 45 years now. I started out as a service station attendant pumping gas in 1973. And since that time, I've held just about every kind of position there is in the automotive industry. From being a tire specialist to a fully trained technician to a service manager. And finally, I took on the position at Mount San Jacinto College first off as an adjunct instructor, then as a full-time instructor, and now as the department's chair. I teach just about everything that the college offers. My personal favorites actually are automotive engine performance and electrical, which I'm letting some of the other instructors teach right now on purpose, because it's my belief that every instructor at our college ought to be able to teach everything that we offer. So right now I'm actually teaching an automotive braking systems class, and I'm teaching the two basic auto mechanics classes that we offer.
Great, awesome. I mean, it's true. I mean, that's pretty good advice. Yeah, I mean, everyone should learn all the aspects of the department, especially if you're going to be in it. Adrian, if you don't mind answering.
All right. Adrian Allman, new full-time faculty over at MSJC College. My background, kind of like Mr. Penciero, started out looking over my grandfather's shoulder and went into Japanese cars and engine swaps and domestic vehicles, hot rods, fleet maintenance, different places, fire sprinkler shops, and built handicap vehicles and four-wheel drive vehicles. Did 20 years with Volkswagen and MasterTech Volkswagen, MasterTech ASE, and did some service writer and service manager work over at Land Rover, Bentley Technician, and Lexus as well. So I've been around several different brands that I generally spent my time at some of the dealerships or the brands in the time that I've been there. Let's see, what else am I supposed to, certifications? Yeah, I taught at a couple different colleges, Part 90 smart technician. But no, I teach, I'm teaching the classes that Mr. Penciero I was just talking about. I'm doing the engine performance now. I'm doing some advanced electrical. I've got manual trans going on, and steering and suspension, which is pretty awesome. Mr. Penciero is glad to take a break from that steering and suspension class, and I'm enjoying it a lot. I've been prior to being full-time over at MSJC, I've been doing a lot of intro classes and welcome wagoning type work for the program. So I'm really glad to be able to teach those advanced level courses and helping to grow and build our program over here. So it's pretty exciting for me. I'm loving it.
Great. Right on. Okay. Stanley, if you could tell us, name, title, and a brief background about the courses you teach.
Well, first of all, are there any more room in those classes? Because those classes are really, really interesting. My name is Stanley Herrmann. I guess I'm the program coordinator for aviation science at MSJC. We're in our second semester, so we haven't gone through a whole academic year yet. But it's a very new program. We're building pretty much from the ground up in terms of what MSJC has to offer and all that. So we're building the curriculum, and so far it's been a positive impact in the community, and we're going to keep going on with that. My background is I've been a professional pilot, or I was a professional pilot for about 10 years or so before I realized that I enjoy teaching a little bit more. And so, so for the past maybe 12 or 13 years, I've been in academia, lucky enough to find positions in various colleges and universities to stay in aviation. And so that's why I'm here at the MSJC, so that way I can be, a little closer to home. I grew up in California, and so helping them start the program here as well. So yeah, we're still in our second semester. We're offering summer classes as well. Looks like those are filling up as well. So it seems to be on a positive trend, and I'm excited to be here to meet all of you guys.
Right. Awesome. Would you say you like teaching better because it's safer than being a pilot?
Maybe, but man,
some days
it's a different challenge. That's for sure.
Yeah.
It's a different challenge.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Awesome. Thank you, guys. So we'll just go on to question 2 now. I'll start with you, Bob, again. Does your course offer any certificates or badges of completion? And if so, how many credit courses or credit hours must be completed to receive a certain badge or a certain certificate?
Well, the certificates that we actually offer actually have to do with the college's own certificates in automotive technology. And we have a couple of other employment concentrations, we call them. You would need 20 units for the college certificate. It consists of 5 courses from our basic auto mechanics course, automotive steering suspension, automotive braking systems, automotive electrical 1, automotive engine performance 1. And that's it. Those are the 5 courses that we have. On automotive steering suspension, I forgot that Mr. Lawman's been good enough to take the class for me, because I've taught that class consistently ever since I've been teaching now for 8 years in every semester, and it gets kind of a little dull after a while, right? So that's my personal specialty, although you get tired of doing just about everything after a while, right? So that's the certificate that the college offers. I would be remiss if I didn't mention that all of our classes are actually designed to get the students ASE certifications, and ASE is the national organization that certifies automotive technicians and a lot of other adjunct professions like automotive service advisor or automotive parts specialist, that sort of thing. So we're not allowed to offer that certification because, like nursing, that's actually a third-party certification that the students would have to obtain from that organization. But we intend, and we do everything that we can to prepare the students to get that particular certification.
Okay, great. So I'm assuming Adrian would know, or Mr. Lawman would know pretty much the same courses that it would be redundant to ask the same question. Okay, I'll ask Stanley. We'll go to question number 2. Does your course, or what you offer, the courses that you teach, offer any certificates or badges of completion?
Sure. So in the aviation industry, when you want to earn certificates as a pilot, they're kind of a la carte. So these certificates are stacked on top of each other, depending how far you want to get into the industry. The first 2 certificates, we have a private pilot certificate and an instrument certificate, which pretty much means that private pilot is mainly for recreation. You can fly your friends and family day and night, but that limits you to flying in fair weather, good weather, where the instrument certification tacks onto that and we teach how to rely on your flight instruments and not on your senses and your peripherals to keep the airplane straight and level while you're flying through clouds and all that. So it's more for inclement weather, but that still doesn't allow the pilot or the individual to get compensated for flying. So the next certificate on top of that, it's the commercial pilot certificate. And so in turn, if a student wants to start, his or her pilot career and start being compensated for it, okay, they'll have to have at least 3 certificates, private, instrument, and commercial. And so we do offer that here at MSJC. It should take around roughly 18 to 24 months to complete, depending on where students go in the summer. If they continue to keep flying with us throughout the summer, then that drastically reduces their training time. But we do offer all the certificates for them to make their way into the commercial pilot industry and in aviation and begin their career.
That's great. Okay, so they can kind of start right at MSJC.
Right. So way back when the aviation industry gets pilots from the military, right? There wasn't much need for civilian training, but that's kind of flipped in the past, 2 to 3 decades, where we've been kind of out of war-ish. And so military is really not making or producing that much pilots. So a lot of people go through the civilian route to earn their certificates, and that's where we come in.
Okay, great. That's awesome to know. Yeah. Okay, so we'll go to question number 3. Mr. Allman, I'll start with you on this one. Would you say, so does your department help students find volunteer opportunities or internships coming from your program?
Oh, very, very much so. We've had the apprenticeship program with Tom Oxford, and that's been going really, really strong. We've got lots of partners in the community. Prior to me coming to MSJC, I did the internship program over at Hammond High School. So I'm familiar with a lot of the industry partners, a lot of the automotive shops, independents, a variety of different shops out here. So we try to not only place our students on our own, we're also building a large bank, I guess, if you will, of potential employers where students are able to go out and do an apprenticeship program. I think they get about 300 hours of work time over at a particular place. And then after that, they can move on, or they can stay there if they want to hire them at that particular location. And we're doing stuff with Jiffy Lube, I believe, where they're getting some lighter work, and then they're getting an opportunity to move on into more complex tasks, say at like a dealership environment. So on a lot of different levels, we're looking out for our students. We've got some really top students that have recently gotten in over at Toyota. I think 2 of our top students have gotten in over at Toyota recently. We've also got some potential things that we're working on with BMW and Temecula, and lots of things on the horizon. It just keeps getting bigger and better.
That's awesome. Okay, so is there like a course that is an apprenticeship, or is this something that you do during the summer?
No, it's running while the classes are going. You can sign up at a email apprenticeship@msjc.edu, and they'll get you signed up. You can earn badges, get your soft skills in order, work on your resume, build a portfolio. That combined with the small certifications that we offer in our programs here. Like we also have Ford training here also, so you can take those certificates and put them in your portfolio with your resume and create that whole package, so when you go to your prospective employer, a student goes to their prospective employer, they have, a portfolio, it's I've done all these different things, I've completed all my safety, I can show up to work on time, I have good character speaking skills and things of that nature, and that all helps, well, along with our technology that we're doing over here. We've got some electric car stuff going on, and newer technologies that are coming in. So our students aren't competing with with the older technicians. They're competing with the newer technicians. So the new technology, that our student has the same experience as another technician with the new technology, which is not much at all, right? So our students are more likely to get hired, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Bob, would you say you have anything to add to that?
No, Mr. Lohman's done a very thorough job of that. On an informal basis, we all know, because we come from the industry, we all still have connections with the industry. I just got one of my female students a job today with Les Schwab Tires. So we're having no trouble finding jobs for our students. There exist out there, and to amplify something that Mr. Lohman said, most of the older technicians probably aren't going to want to make the transition to the newer industry that we're really going into, that we're right on the verge of now with electrification and autonomous vehicles, at least autonomous features. So there are a lot of opportunities out there for the students if they really want to become involved with that sort of thing.
Great. All right. So Stanley, I'll go to you, back to you. I'll restate the question. So does your department help students find, or not even just your department, but your courses help students find volunteer opportunities or any internships? I think you touched on this before. But.
Yeah. So, the way you should see airports, the way I see airports, it's its own little city. In an airport environment, there's maintenance procedures going on, there's charter procedures, there's air taxi, there's cargo, there's flight training, there's aircraft management, and a lot of operations going on. And until the student becomes a certificated pilot, it limits them to what they can actually fly at the airport. But it's okay, because the rest of the airport environment involves everything, all the other aspects of aviation that they should learn about. So since we are a new program, we're starting to build these opportunities and relationships with the various other vendors and organizations at the airport. But I feel that once we've done all that, the students will have the ability to kind of pick and choose what facet of aviation other than flying or being a pilot interests them. And so they there's always need for this. There's always going to be need for volunteer opportunities or internships at airports and extra help, because this aviation industry is booming now, and so there's more demand to get more pilots up there, to get more airplanes restored, to get more airplanes back up in the air, so that they can train pilots. And I feel that in the next year or so, we'll probably have a very strong internship and volunteer program at the airport that we're flying or operating from.
Oh, okay, great. And I think you may have said this before, but just so I can reiterate, is this program new, the aviation science
It is new.
program?
This is our second semester. So now.
Okay, yeah. Oh, nice. All right. Well, we'll go to question 4. I'll stick with you on this. I'm kind of interested to know about what 3 skills would you say high school students should have before going into like this type of program, the aviation science program? Like I said, it could be soft skills, technical skills. Like, what do you think?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because I'm trying to wrap my head around, well, what skills should I, it's a lot of it's not measurable. I would like to say, they should be well-versed in math and English and all that, but really what I found what I found to be common traits in successful students is the ability to problem solve. And that, I don't know if that's able to be measured, but problem solving really takes the use of, or the knowledge of the resources around them and being able to apply. And even if they fail the first couple of times, that's okay, but they have that willingness to look for the answers, right? And that's very important in aviation because, when you're in the air, you can't just pull over. You can't pull over, you can't call AAA, you can't call your parents to pick you up somewhere and whatever. You just can't do that.
Hopefully.
So once the airplane leaves the ground, you're dedicated to get that airplane back down safely one way or another. And that takes a lot of, may take a lot of troubleshooting and problem solving skills in the air. And I don't know if that's innate in students as they're growing up or whatnot, or we're going to have to teach them in terms of how to do that. But some people are just more natural at that than others. And the other thing that I tend to notice is you said high school students before going to college. I'm hoping that they have some sense of maybe a study habit. They recognize the ways that they learn and how they learn best. I know not all students learn the same way, and the way I teach my lectures is I try to pull in all different types of methods. So hopefully one of them will impact the student. But I believe that, especially going into aviation where there's so much information that you just have to know, it'll be helpful if they develop some sort of a study habit, or they know how to study. Okay, some students don't know how to study, and it's not their fault. Maybe they just haven't been shown the methods yet, and that'll go a long way, especially in our program in aviation science, because there's a lot of information thrown at you, and a lot of self-study that's involved in the program.
Great. Yeah. I definitely like, the thing with problem solving, I think, has to do with being able to adapt to certain situations.
Right.
I think. Yeah.
Right.
That's so true. Especially, with flying. Like you said, you can't pull over. You can't ask for directions. You have to just adapt to the problem. Yeah. That's it. That's awesome. Thank you. I'll go to you, Bob. What 3 skills would you say high school students should have before entering your program at MSJC?
Well, obviously problem solving is important for us too, but the feedback that we usually get from employers have to do with soft skills, which have become an increasing problem for a variety of different reasons. But we would look for students who actually showed up on time, stayed off their phones, and actually did their work. And our industry has struggled with a credibility problem for some years. So personal honesty is actually something that is always in great demand. And we try to encourage that throughout every aspect of our training, and the industry encourages it as well. So most of the skills actually are something it's difficult to pick up, I suppose. It's difficult to learn it from a textbook, but they're soft skills that just about anybody can possess if they work hard enough at it. So again, they need to be on time. They need to actually be responsible and show up when they're supposed to. And they need to practice some personal honesty, some personal responsibility. So those are actually the most in-demand skills that we have right now.
All right. I mean, those are definitely skills that everybody should have when it comes to, just in general, working and stuff.
Well,
so
they become altogether too rare, unfortunately. So.
Very true. Very true. I'll ask you too, Lowman. What 3 skills would you say high school students should have before entering your program, or even just going to college in general? I think you're on mute, Lowman.
Oh,
yeah, you're good.
Right.
On mute again.
Sorry, we're on. Security guard came in here just now. Skills number 4.
Yeah. So what top 3 skills would you say students should have before going into your program, or would you just in college in general? What you say?
There's simple skills, although there's a little bit more that goes into them. One of them I want to say is pretty important is time management. The time that we have with our labs is so precious, and being able to come in here and get those labs done and learn, and when we're here, be here, and that's helpful when getting a job and these other things too. So that's important. Distractions, again, with the sometimes electronic devices, not to mention safety. Those are some concerns. I know that attention spans seem to be getting a little bit shorter, but when you're taking apart bigger projects, like pulling an engine out of a car, there's different chunks. You need to chunk it kind of be able to remember it. So being distracted or being present, more present than distracted could be helpful, right? The more, I've grown as, the years that I've been in the business, being able to take apart some, big piles of bolts, And the third thing that I feel is important is ergonomics and safety. Ergonomics goes a long way. Just the way that you carry yourself, like if you're lifting with your back instead of your knees, that's not good. Or whether you slip off of something and you can hurt yourself, or just there's a certain way that I see some of the students when they first come in, they're like a little bit awkward with it. So if they come in and they get comfortable and they're more relaxed, do things ergonomically, follow the safety things with it, it kind of grows or whatever the longer they're in our program. And I really do kind of push it a little bit, particularly in the intro classes and in the beginning of the semester with my other classes. There's the ergonomics, the safety, distractions, and time management. The further ahead anyone coming into our program has some skill in those areas, I think they'll go further.
All right. Yeah, no, awesome. Great answers. I mean, they're all definitely useful that you can use across different multiple like classes, multiple jobs. So yeah, awesome. Thank you guys. We're on to question 5. This is one I personally like. I'll go to you, Bob. What student success stories would you say you've had come from your courses? I know that you said you just got one of your students a job at Les Schwab or something. Yeah, if you want to elaborate on that, or just have another student success story.
Well, there are quite a few. My personal favorite is a student I had in one of my steering and suspension classes a few years ago. Ended up getting him a job with Desert European down in Palm Springs. And he works on Lamborghinis now. So he's got himself a 6-figure salary. And the manufacturer just sent him to Italy last summer so he can learn how to overhaul a V12. So he was nice enough to take one of their cars and put it in our shop for us, and even offered to let me sit in it. But I told him that if he did, they were going to have to bury me in the car because I'd probably never be able to get out of the thing again. I think it's lower than my kneecaps, so I'd have trouble getting out of that thing. Sometimes I think to myself, gee, I should have taken that job myself rather than giving it to this kid. But he's going to have a great life and he's having a good time. So that's actually my personal favorite success story. And there are a lot of stories like it, not quite as exciting, but we have a number of students who are doing really well as a result of the training that they've received from us.
That's great. That's awesome to hear. I mean, it'd be more of a success story, if you were able to get that, 6 figures.
Well, I did well enough.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Bob. Lallman, would you say you have any? I know you guys are in the same.
It's basically the same stuff.
Same
I
thing.
mean, we've got, Porsche and some McLaren stories, very similar, got some students that made it to shop foreman, various dealerships, and it's really, really nice. I must say that when I first got into teaching, I didn't know some of the rewards that I would be getting. When our students come back and show you, pictures of their kids, pictures of their house, pictures of their cars that they have at their houses and things, it's pretty remarkable. Love teaching automotive technology. It just opens up to the door to so many different areas, the different systems from hydraulics to air conditioning, geometry and steering and suspension, engine performance. It can take you in so many different directions. A lot of doors are open for you. And I love to hear my students coming back and telling me their success stories. Those are some of my success stories.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's great. Technology is never, it's not going anywhere. So that's for sure. Stanley, what student success stories or stories would you say you had coming from your course or just even from a student?
Cool. So yeah, we're still a new program, so we're still kind of writing the story in our book. We're composing it. But one great success story or trending is I think last week one of our students from in our inaugural class or first class last semester, he got his private pilot license last week. So that's the first, I guess, recreational license that you can get, which pretty much means that you can fly your friends or family day or night and fly for fun and whatnot. And it's a big deal. I mean, getting your first pilot license is, I would say, the hardest one, because throughout the whole process, you're learning everything brand new. It's a new language, it's new information, and that's like the biggest hump. You know, everything else that kind of adds on to the private pilot, you already know how to fly the plane, and you already know the basics of aerodynamics, aircraft systems, and all that. You're just training at a higher degree or smaller tolerances. Let's put it that way. So for him, he got his license last week, and it was great. And we had a little get together and party for him. And so, you know, he's not at quite the level as a commercial pilot where he can get a job as it, but I don't think he'll have any problems reaching that point here the next year or so. So that's the most recent story we have in our program.
All right, awesome. I mean, already 2 semesters already.
Getting there, yeah.
That sounds awesome. Is this
He's a go-getter.
a license you could get through MSJC, or you kind of just MSJC helps you get to where you get?
Right. So to earn a private pilot, or sorry, to earn any pilot's license, I mean, the FAA, Federal Aviation Administration, is the one that actually, you know, certificates
They do,
an individual to be a pilot. We just offer the curriculum and schooling for it. So you can kind of see flight training as maybe driver's ed, where in driver's ed, if you remember, there's a classroom portion of it, and then you hop in a car with an instructor and terrorize the streets for I don't know how long. So we're the same thing. There's a classroom portion of it, and then they hop into an airplane and fly
You
around.
guys
So
terrorize the streets or the skies.
the skies, yeah.
Great, awesome. Yeah, I wanted to see what the process was, like how it relates to driving. Okay, it's like, okay, cool, awesome, thank you. All right, well, we're at the last question. I will start with you, Allman, if you don't mind. I think you may have touched on this too as well. What advice do you have for students who are interested in going to college but not sure where to start? If you have any advice. Or...
You know, I did the same thing myself. I would just have to say, come on down. I want to say, you know, study your basic skills, obviously. You know, some determination could be helpful, although if you don't know, you can't be very determined about something that you don't know. But whatever you do, whatever you try, just like in life, you know, just be the best at it that you can. You know, be aware that, you know, if you go to your grandmother's house for Thanksgiving to eat turkey, if you're going to come to school, make sure you come to school to learn, or come to school to eat, you know, get some of our kind of turkey, you know.
Great, yeah.
Get some knowledge while you're here, because, you know, it's all here. There's not very many places that have the shop environment that we have, you know, the tools, the welcoming, you know. It's really a great opportunity for anyone to come on in and you know, sample. It's like it's a buffet, you know. We have so much stuff, you know. They should come down here and enjoy it. That's all I can say.
Take advantage. Yeah, great, perfect. Bob, what advice would you give to students who are interested in going to college but not sure where to start?
Well, the community college, first off, offers a tremendous value to students because their education is actually subsidized by the taxpayers in the local county. So while we compete with a number of private institutions which offer a lot of the same training that we do, this gives the students the opportunity to get their feet wet and take maybe 1 or 2 courses without making a big commitment financially. And even if they decide to go through the entire course, they're going to be able to complete the same education, which is actually superior in my opinion, for about 1/10 the price that they would be paying a private institution. So if they're not sure how to get started, aside from the college website, we have some really wonderful members of our counseling staff, some of whom are here today, who would be glad to guide them through the first steps that they need to get going in their college careers. So while that can be intimidating, all they really have to do is make those first baby steps, and we'll take them a long way toward the rest of the way to go.
All right, perfect. I mean, that is true with the going to community college can be a good first step to do, to try it out, or instead of just going straight to, spending all your money on a 4-year university. Great. Thank you, Bob. Thank you. Stanley, same question, last question. Any advice you give to students who are looking to go to college, but just not sure where to start or kind of hesitant about it?
Yeah, sure. A lot of students come in to talk to me, or we have conversations on the phone, and they're very excited about aviation, and and I mean, who wouldn't be? It's kind of cool. But besides the fact, I tell them, listen, although you're gung ho about aviation, you may think you're gung ho about aviation. Have a plan B, have a plan C, and D or whatever. Okay, because just echoing what Bob presented was that, at community college, you're able to kind of explore options without, breaking, the bank too much in terms of trying to figure out what you want to do. And aside from that, aviation is such a, I guess what I could say that is you cannot be a pilot if you cannot pass a medical examination every couple of years. And so it's very dependent on your health, and we can't predict the future, what may happen to us or our health. And so having multiple plans when you get into aviation is always a good idea. But aside from that, just generally what I see is students that really love what they're doing, they excel. And historically, in my life, I haven't really been a great student. In elementary, middle school, high school, I just did enough to get by. And then I found aviation, and I wanted to work harder because I enjoyed it. And so I end up getting to where I needed to go because I actually enjoyed what I did. And so I tend to stress to incoming students, find something you really enjoy doing, okay? Because then you'll work harder at it. And yes, it's still going to be hard work, but you will put in the work instead of trying to do something that you think maybe other people want you to do or whatnot. Just find your passion. And in community college, there are so many different avenues and departments that you can kind of go in and ask what they're like, and go visit, do some tours, and just see what calls out at you. So, have a lot of options when you go into college, and then find the one that best fits you and kill it, go for it.
It's great. No, that is good advice. Yeah, find your passion. Find your passion. Find what you are interested in. Go to community college. Go to any college. Yeah, no, that's true. Because then you'll actually you'll be more motivated, which is pretty much what I'm hearing.
Go get some turkey.
Yeah, go get the turkey. It's a buffet, as Lawman said. Okay, well, it is time to wrap this up. I want to thank you guys, Bob, Adrian, Stanley. Thank you guys for sharing your information and insights about the auto tech and aviation science courses and programs. I do want to thank the other educators and students who will be watching this or who did watch it. I hope you learned a lot. I know I do every time I do these. This is recorded, so I will be editing the video and putting it up. It should be up on the app by the end of the week, so you can check it out later. The industry panel is tomorrow, so come tune in for that. Before we go, I'm going to share my screen to show the students and everybody else to please go on the app and check out the information about MSJC's aviation automotive programs. You can just click around, get some information about it, check out the program, certificates, degrees, even some salary info, and there are some cool workshops that you can work on. So I will see you guys tomorrow, hopefully, and thank you again.
Thank you so much.